About a week before my birthday, which was Wednesday, December 10th, my husband and I were out in the garden when we spotted a plane streaking low in the sky. It was literally going down with smoke as if it had crashed or malfunctioned just one block from our house. We rushed to check for any emergency parachutes. We searched our phones for post or eyewitnesses, and there were no reports of a crash. No news, no alerts, nobody. I had an urge to look in the sky one more time, but in the opposite direction. And when I looked up and to the west, I spotted these strange, unidentified lights or orbs hovering steadily, almost like they were waiting to be seen. They've been showing up every night since, in the same location, responding when I look, forming circles and coming close. It feels like the universe is saying, pay attention. This is for you. And I'm glad I did because it lit up something I've been studying in healing for years. The hidden wiring that sets us up for doubt and how we can rewire it. That's why I'm sharing this today. Not as a guru with all the answers, but as someone who's been in the trenches and found the lights waiting on the other side. Have you ever grown up feeling like you were too much? Like the simple fact that you had big ideas, talents bubbling up inside, or dreams that wouldn't stay quiet somehow made you a burden? We all carry that wiring sometimes. From my studies and my own life, I've learned that it starts early, in those fundamental years when our brains are like sponges, absorbing what safety looks like. For me, it was shelters, Section 8 housing, 3 older brothers and a working mom doing everything to keep us alive, creating an early programming for survival. My dad passed away when I was 10, pulling our family apart for a while. The father figure my mother replaced was a convicted felon, and she felt like it would be more safe to have me stay with my family during his first year home. I got to choose who I stayed with, and I chose to stay with my grandmother, who at the time was a middle school teacher who was strict, tough-loving, and liked her silence during Xena Warrior Princess. I was the only kid being raised at my grandmother's home, and my free time consisted of reading the books from her home library. I had a lot of time with my thoughts. Weekdays were for studying, and weekends blurred into pulling weeds, harvesting collard greens, and cabbage. The garden's quiet rhythm became my world. I returned home 2 years later. There wasn't much money and not much emotional bandwidth. Just a lot of time alone with my thoughts that echoed too loud. And when we get that kind of input or lack of it, our young minds start to build these subconscious blueprints. We learn without words that expressing ourselves fully might overwhelm others, or that we have to shrink to fit in. When I'd finally connect with people, I'd flood them with everything I had created in my head, the ideas, the skills, and I started stuttering through the excitement. High school brought me back to life. It was a place where I could create, be seen, and learn about all that the world has to offer. But the blueprint stuck. Overachieve to earn your spot. Be the brightest, the toughest, because deep down, we never feel seen just for existing. That carried into everything. Firefighter in Atlanta, trying out for the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders. A psychology degree in mental health. Becoming a case manager. Running a therapeutic garden for individuals with intellectual disabilities. Now, I own my own farm. I build chakra affirmation herbal teas as my business. I am also the senior flower technician at Green Thumb Industries. I've been married 20 years, and I successfully raised another human being. Proud milestones for sure, but woven through it all, the nagging doubt. Who do you think you are? Every win felt accidental. every stumble, confirming pessimistic thoughts. It wasn't until about a year ago that I remembered its name in my studies, Imposter syndrome, and it hit deep for several decades in me. But here's what we discover when we dig in through psychology, internal family systems, even ancient wisdom traditions. It's not a flaw. It's a protector. Now, awareness changes everything. From what I've learned studying this, the inner critic isn't our enemy. It's a part of us born from those early blueprints, trying to shield us from rejection or failure. When we grow up without steady support or resources, it whispers, "Stay small so you don't get hurt." It's like a guard dog barking at shadows, keeping us safe but also caged. We see it in how we flood our gifts, then stutter and retreat, or overachieve endlessly, chasing proof we're enough. That voice pushed me through firefights and auditions, and it built resilience. But it doubled the weight too, making every step feel like a test that we might fail. The inner critic is often a brutally effective motivator because it weaponizes fear and shame, two of the strongest emotional drivers humans have. It pushes us through difficult things by threatening us with an even worse outcome if we stop. If you don't finish this project perfectly, everyone will see you're a fraud. If you don't lose 10 pounds, no one will ever love you. If you don't rehearse this presentation 50 more times, you'll humiliate yourself. That threat creates massive adrenaline and cortisol. You get hyper-focused, you work late, you push through exhaustion. On the outside, it can look like incredible discipline or grit. Deadlines get met, degrees get earned, bodies get transformed. But the internal experience is misery, constant worry. What if I fail? Self-doubt. I'm not good enough. Preemptive shame. They're going to find out I'm faking it. Zero joy in the process. And even when you succeed, the critic immediately moves the goalpost. Yeah, but it was okay. But you could have done better. So the critic delivers results at the price of your peace, creativity, and long-term health. It's like driving a car by only using a cattle prod on the driver. You'll go fast, but you'll hate every second and eventually burn out or crash. Life works better when you have a parent, and our mind thrives off parenting. By parenting the inner critic, you turn one of your greatest tormentors into one of your greatest allies. You don't silence your drive. You civilize it. You remain ambitious and capable, but you finally get to enjoy the life you're building. And here's the key teaching I've pulled from deep dives into cognitive behavioral therapy and subconscious rewiring. We can't just silence the critic with force. We thank it first. Acknowledge its job. I see you, protector. You keep me alive through the chaos, but now I'm ready to lead. That's where affirmations come in, not as magic words, but as bridges. They don't override the critic overnight. They gently retrain the blueprint. We start by noticing the distractions, the mental noise society throws at us to keep us unfocused and doubting. What we tune into expands. Life isn't punishing us, it's mirroring our dominant vibes, our unspoken beliefs. Even tiny shifts reveal it. For years, I let people call me Pam. Short, easy, safe. My aunt used it when I was in trouble, and it stuck like a shadow. Correcting to Pamela felt vulnerable, like inviting judgment. The critic fired back. Who cares? Don't rock the boat. But now, hearing my full name feels like reclaiming space, a small bloom from consistent awareness. And woven through all this is the divine assistance I've felt since day one. I was born into a spiritual tapestry. My mom was a fierce apostolic, my dad a church minister, my grandma quietly practicing Wicca, throwing bones and calling spirits while I slept nearby, all planting a seed of spiritual protection and guidance from early on. A strong, clear voice guided me, steady through all the noise and nudging me toward what served my highest good. I believe it was my higher self. I believe we all have a higher self that's wise, and it comes in to the core. And for me, it felt like it was always with me. It is always with me, guiding me from a distant place, almost cosmic. It communicates telepathically from somewhere vast. And these orbs lighting up my nights in my early heart and my studies of energy fields and consciousness, they all feel connected. External echoes of that inner guidance confirming we're heard. While building my tea business, princesspeasgarden.com, an ankle injury led me to kinesiology and muscle testing, which is a method used in alternative and holistic health practices to communicate with the body, or more specifically, with the subconscious mind, nervous system, or body's innate intelligence. By asking yes or no questions and interpreting the response through changes in our muscles or the strength in our muscle resistance, we can get a better understanding of what our body is saying. I use it as a simple way to dialogue with my higher self, getting a yes or no question for clarity when the inner critic tries to drown out everything. We all have this guidance. Silent nudges toward alignment, but the inner critic mimics it, twisting, protecting, into paralysis. Awareness is our differentiator. When the critic shows up, pause, breathe, and ask, is this fear or truth? COVID cracked it open for me. Being shut down, not working, grief layering on old grief, my uncle, the jazz soul who showed music as medicine, gone. I felt punished, but the hibiscus seeds that I planted in the garden kept growing, and they called back. I remember that I had a green thumb and started planting herbs. I attached affirmations to the tea bags that I was sipping on and began sipping in self-care with affirmations in tea, which helped me reprogram my mind. Seeds pushing through soil, no training needed, just conditions, water, light, trust, which always blooms perfect. A seed doesn't hear doubt, comparison, or criticism. It never questions whether it's good enough, too slow, or the wrong kind of plant. The moment it's placed in soil, it trusts one thing only. There is light above, and water and nutrients will come. With that quiet, absolute faith, it cracks open, sends down roots, and reaches upward. No matter how rocky the ground, how long the winter, or how many weeds grow beside it, it keeps growing towards the light. It cannot yet see, but knows it's there. Whatever blooms, rose, oak, dandelion, or something rare and unnamed, is always perfect because it never wasted a single ounce of energy or seconds guessing its own nature. It simply became what it always was meant to become. That mirror showed me we're all those seeds. We are all those seeds. And from my reading of Neville Goddard, Dr. Joe Dispenza, my psychology notes on internal family systems, and vibrational science, life responds to what we provide. The fog clears when we pause and redirect. 7 months ago, I identified the damage being done by the inner critic and redirected it with a major affirmation, a song I wrote called I Thrive.
I was caught in a storm, thought I was losing my mind. Life felt like a tornado, twisting fate and time. Thought everything and everyone was trying to pull me down. Distracted by doubt, I couldn't even hear my own sound. But then I paused, took a look in the mirror. The fog in my mind started growing a little clearer. Life isn't punishing me, it's responding to my vibe, to my words, to my thoughts, to the energy that I provide.
Each day I thrive.
Those orbs, they're the outer proof. Awareness flips the switch. Most of life is run on hidden programs, thoughts, attitudes, and reactions we never chose. We think they're us, so we stay stuck. The instant we become aware, we step out of the program and watch it. A thought arises. We see it instead of being it. An attitude flares. We notice it before it acts. An impulse moves. We now have a gap to choose. In that gap is our power. We realize I'm not the anger, fear, or old story. I am the one watching. And you are the awareness, not the conditioning. Once you know that, you can rewire anything. Every thought, attitude, and action becomes optional. Awareness doesn't just reveal who you've been. It proves you were never trapped. You were only asleep at the wheel. Flip the switch. Wake up, choose, and become whoever you decide to. So if this resonates, if you've ever felt like you are too much or not enough, if you felt the tug of the inner critic gatekeeping your light, let's start here. Awareness is your first tool. Notice the blueprints and thank the protectors. Tune into affirmations that speak on what you truly want to expand. You don't need perfection, just the willingness to rewire one nudge at a time. You're not alone. Those lights found me in the dark, and they'll find you too. Thank you for being here. If this sparks something, comment I'm becoming aware below. And if you're ready to unpack the inner critic deeper, what it really is, how it forms those blueprints, and how targeted affirmations dismantle it, subscribe, because that's what we'll discuss next. We're building this garden together. Together, we thrive.